350,000 kills. That's how many the #1 Caustic and his top lifeline have combined. And today they're here to share with you their gameplay, stats, tips and tricks, settings, and of course biggest secrets for their legends. Oh, and shh, don't tell anyone, there's a giveaway later in the video.
I ain't slept in months, y'all. I so red I can't see what's real. Roll me up a blunt.
And here they are, Giggle, the #1 Caustic on all platforms with that ridiculous amount of kills, and of course Marcus, one of the top lifelines in the entire game, with once again a ridiculous amount of kills. So let's go watch their gameplay and get their biggest tips and tricks plus secrets for their legend. It's going to be super interesting for Lifeline, as she obviously just got a major rework, but first up, let's talk to the #1 Caustic in the world, Giggle. Well, first up with Caustic, perk-wise, what do you reckon are the best perks for Caustic?
Okay, so you want to go left, and which is the first one is the 75% throw range. And the reason I say this one, because I used to all stand for the Nox Vision, like the extended, but with the health bar being added, Nox Vision is completely pointless because everyone just basically has Nox Vision now with the health bar. So might as well just pick the throw one, just because it's fun.
Oh wow, I didn't even think that.
Yeah,
I was looking at them before asking you just then, and I was like, she's definitely going to choose the Nox Vision, right? No, okay.
Yeah, I used to. That was a big
Yeah.
Nox Vision stand, but now it's like, what's the point when I can just shoot them and I see their health bar? So
That's a good point, yeah, no.
or they take the damage, yeah, so it doesn't matter. And then you want to make the bigger ult, for sure. Like, I mean, it doubles his ult inside, which is the perfect perk. Because the health regen is absolutely pointless. It is so slow.
Okay, fair. And you would never choose the other ones? You think it's always just going to be those two?
Yes, there is absolutely no reason to pick the other one.
Alright, well, playstyle-wise with Caustic, what do you think's the best way to play him?
Yeah, with pubs, I mean, you can play however you want. You can be, like, super aggressive and kind of get away with it. But in, like, a competitive setting, you want to be a little more reserved, because with the gas traps being able to just shoot out instantly, you can't just like run at someone in a straight line, right? Throw a gas trap, they're just gonna shoot it. So you have to try to have it placed beforehand. So maybe trying to bait them into you.
Okay, well, weapon-wise, what do you think are the best weapons to run on Caustic?
I am a Prowler Fiend, but you know, I started using that one like Digi was meta. I always thought anything that had a Digi made him absolutely insane. But like right now with shotguns, I mean, that is huge. I mean, everyone's running shotguns and you can get an edge with.
Giggle's audio messed up just here, but she said shotguns are so good because Caustic's best at close range, basically fighting inside his gas, with the huge burst or pump potential that they offer, and also gave the tip of fighting next to your gas trap so that you can use them as cover while you're fighting, which is obviously really good for shotguns because you can just peek and unpeek from behind the trap using it as cover. So shotguns definitely. Do you reckon it's best to combo a shotgun with an AR or an SMG, or what are your thoughts there?
I always like doing a longer range with Caustic just because he doesn't have a way to push. So if you're able to deal enough damage that you can push them,
Yeah.
so like if you like a G7 or like, I mean, if you're 301, you can hit long enough, get them weak enough, right? Then it's nice because you can capitalize then on having something close. But you want something that kills fast so you can capitalize on the 2 seconds that they're stunned. So you want to be able to output as much damage as you can in those 2 seconds before they're out.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when it comes to Caustic, do you think the Digithreat was a massive nerf to him, or do you think it's not as prevalent or not as big of a nerf now that they've added, I guess, the ability to see health bars and also the red outlines, etc.?
Before the health bars, I thought it was a huge nerf. I was like, man, this kind of sucks. Because like what I would do a lot of is like throw my ult or throw a trap and just like pop it and like play on the outside, like truly use it as like a bank smoke, right? Like I would play it like that. So losing Digi, I was like, oh, this is kind of like tough. I can't see because Nox Vision's actually terrible and like never works and it doesn't last. Oh, like the health bar, I guess like now you can use whatever weapon you want, but that is like a catch-22, right? Like now everyone can do that too. Everyone has Nox Vision in your gas.
That's true. I never thought of it from that aspect, yeah.
Yeah, and they did say, and when I was in the dev panel, that gas and smoke wasn't going to be seen anymore. It was not in the patch notes. And what I have noticed and seen is you still see the health bars, and they still see it like enemies. So hopefully we see a fix to it. But as of right now, you still see like Caustic's health bar, his teammates. So you want to be super careful with how you're placing gas because of that, because you could be killing your team without even realizing it.
What do you think are the best legends to run with Caustic? Like, what are the best legends to team up with? The best team comps, I guess.
I guess like a comp setting, you want to have someone that can like rotate him. So like with the Pathfinder zip right now, That's super good. I'm able to like get to point A and B unscathed. Love that. And then I've always thought that Caustic was good with Gibby, just because you can throw like your ult in his dome. You can throw traps in the dome. Like any of that has always been so
I mean,
nice.
there was the meta in comp for a very long time where it was just Caustic Gibber endgame.
Yeah, they just always been so nice.
Counters though, what are the big counters to Caustic? What's the best way to counter him?
Maybe it's just this is the counter to everyone, but Horizon murders me quite regularly.
She's just ridiculous, so yeah.
Yeah, because she can like say I just my 3.5 minute ult, just used it on her. Oh, her 10-second Q just completely took it away. It's gone. Later, and then like you're so big that like it is a bit harder to get out of her ult. Like when you see her like throwing it or something, it's harder to totally avoid it. So I find myself getting sucked into it more. I think Fuse is an insane counter because like you're normally in at one spot, right? Like you're trying to play a spot with the traps, play that, but like a Fuse Knuckle Cluster just destroyed everything you have. And it's just all gone. And I always thought when Seer was like strong, I thought he was like a...
So with that as well, like the same as Fuse, would it be Crypto? Just Crypto breaks traps as well, right?
I never had an issue with Crypto, but that's because like I knew like it does break your traps, so I would just shoot them. So like I never had, yeah, if you shoot the traps, it takes away health from the trap, but it doesn't get rid of the trap if you shoot it beforehand. So as long as you don't do too much damage to it, then like if I shot it with like a shotgun, it'd probably get rid of it. But you shoot like one bullet of like a 301, it's just gonna pop it. You still have the trap, gives you enough time to heal before they can push.
And then you have the other traps, you know, what's it called, stocked up as well, so you can just replace them instantly. Yeah, okay. Fair.
Yeah, you have them ready to go. Yeah, and it makes it a lot easier now that you can like pick them up too. So like say you just threw them all out and then you're getting EMP'd, you could like re-grab them all quicker.
Okay, well looking back at Caustic for kind of like the whole time Apex has been out, what have been like the biggest glitches or the biggest bugs that you can think of for Caustic? Or any cool fun ones? But before she tells us about the crazy amount of ridiculous and funny Caustic glitches, let's go to her biggest tips and tricks for, well, Caustic. Okay, well, what about like your biggest tips and tricks for Caustic? If you just had to give, you know, maybe 3 or however many you have, your biggest tips and tricks for Caustic, what would they be?
Always, you want to really make sure your like utility usage is good. Like you don't want to just like spam them all out, and then they're just getting destroyed. I've noticed like a lot of people, they'll get thrown at like grenades, and they like spam all their traps out. You just are going to lose all of them. Like that grenade is just going to you just lost them all. Like they're not even gonna have time to like deploy, right? So you just really want to make sure you're paying attention to your utility usage.
Would you say it's forward thinking with your utility usage as well? So you gotta like think forward to where they're gonna push and have like traps, you know, maybe a little bit advanced so it stops them pushing there, etc.
Especially if you're like maybe getting chased or something, like you're trying to lead a team into like maybe where you had a trap already, but like using it to like hold the door, buy you time. That is like the biggest thing with him right now. I think he's using it specifically to hold a door.
I mean, because you gain so much time off that. Yeah, I was gonna say, you gain so much time because they have to break the door and then they have to break the trap as well.
Yep. And you can play it, that will give you a whole time to like pop a bat. So that is where I think he is the strongest in his kit, is being able to hold the door. Just buy you that a little bit more time, make people second guess. I also think that you should always carry Ultimate Accelerant with him and pop your ult like crazy. Because at least you can do some damage, and at least it scares people sometimes. His ult is good. It's unbreakable. It is actually useful, especially if you're fighting a Gibby. I think that's your most value. But yeah, positioning is huge on him too. Like just, you're a big character, no mobility, and you have no wall, nothing to like really save yourself. So you don't like overextend in the open, stand in the open, like play covers, play rocks, play boxes, play doors, whatever. You just, positioning is huge, or you're just gonna get absolutely fried because you're large.
Okay, well looking back at Caustic for kind of like the whole time Apex has been out, what have been like the biggest glitches or the biggest bugs that you can think of for Caustic? Or any cool fun ones?
I already know the one. There was that one where you would kill your teammates or yourself. That was so awful.
What was that? I don't even know that.
If you threw your trap not close enough to the door, but like enough to where like you could fit, and if someone tried to open that door, it would just kill you. You would literally just die. It would say like 5,000 damage and you were just dead.
I think I do remember that actually. Yeah. That was like season like 13 or 14, somewhere around there, I think.
I killed my teammates and myself so many times doing that. Like, it's because you'd be sitting there trying to hold the door, right? And then they would just open it slightly and it would just kill you.
That's so funny. Any other cool or funny ones?
I mean, obviously, like the one where you could put the trap on the red
OG
skull was always
one. Yeah,
hilarious. Oh, that was fun. But yeah, do you remember when they used to like fly around? Like they would just like leave you.
Yeah, they just float up, wasn't it?
Yeah, they would just leave you. I remember I would be like playing them, and then they were just like, whoo, just like fly away. I'm like, okay.
I used to love the Caustic one as well, where you could hide inside his traps. Just place them on top of yourself and hide inside them. I did that so much.
Yeah, I used to do that. I did that. I specifically remember doing that on like top of train station. You know, like like you sit in those little like cargo ships. They wouldn't even know, and then you just creep out. Hey.
To be fair, some legends have had terrible glitches. At least Caustics were fun, honestly. Apart from the killing your teammates.
Oh yeah, I would laugh every time I would die to the gas traps. That was pretty funny.
What do you actually think about Caustic and where he is at the moment? Do you think he's well balanced? Do you think he needs buffs? Do you think he needs nerfs? What do you actually think about Caustic right now?
I think he is in like one of the worst states he's ever been in. With like, you know, his slow is like non-existent, the damage is non-existent. If people like step out and step back in, it just like restarts it, right? So like, they take 9 damage. So I just threw my ult on you, and now you've taken 9 damage and you're out of it.
And the slows doesn't even really affect, yeah.
Yeah, right? So it's like, you just took 9 damage in my ultimate. Like, I'm not going to sit in a Gibby ult and
No,
take
that's crazy, because
damage.
I was talking to a top lifeline literally just the other day, and he was like, yeah, if a Caustic throws his ult on me, I just heal through it now.
Yeah, yes, you don't, it doesn't matter. And then like with the res,
Yep.
now I will say like if I threw my ult on like a Newcastle, minus if he has his electric wall, if I threw it on them, if they were to res, it would at least stop that person from gaining the health regen. So
That's true.
I mean, you get that at least, but he's just in with the health bar. I mean, he doesn't have Nox vision. His gas does literally nothing. Just nothing. He's just such a hard character to balance, though. It's hard to make him good. You don't want to make him too good, but you don't want to make him terrible. And I just think we're in the terrible spot right now. And I want to believe he'd be good with this meta, but it's so easy to shoot out a trap in a Gibby bubble.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Do you think meta plays a part in him being good and useful?
I think you can always like find value with it, but with like I did one of the TSM like 100K tournaments and I got 4th overall and I played Caustic the whole time. So out of 60 people and pros and everything, I got 4th. I was the only one playing Caustic. Like, I mean, you can make him work even if like no one else is playing
I
it.
mean, he still offers a lot with just like zoning and controlling areas. Like, he may not do a lot of damage, but he still zones that area out with his ult or with his traps.
Just right now it's just hard because no one's gonna respect it, right? Like you're saying, like Lifeline can just res you right on up.
Yep, literally.
Doesn't matter. And then they're all healed, 1 syringe. They're good. Now Lifeline drone doesn't work in gas, but she can still pop a syringe. And then like there is always that you can ult a Gibby bubble, but with Caustic gas, if you step out of it, it takes away that damage. So they would be like getting to re-slow, but they're not gonna like tank up like a lot of damage. You could capitalize on that, like taking control of their bubble, but I think that's the only way he's like works in this current.
Well, if you had to rate Caustic on a like tier list, where would you rate him at the moment?
I'd put him pretty low. I think right now, the only people that are really playing him are people that are maybe like scared to like, they think that like they have to play like defensive and like he's like the greatest one. But his utility right now is basically only for holding doors. And you could just play Catalyst. So, yeah, and then you're like have a smaller hitbox, you like can rotate better, you can't insta break her Q. So it's because it's risky, right? Like you can't throw a gas trap, pop it, and res someone. That's death. So you're not getting like old value resets like you used to be able to. So I definitely think he's like the worst controller legend right now. And there's a reason you're not really seeing him played like as much.
Yeah, so would you say he's like a C tier legend, maybe a B tier? Where would you put him?
I'd say like D.
D even? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's in a really tough spot right now.
Fair. I vote that. Well, how would you make him better? What buffs would you give him? Is there anything you can think off the top of your head that you would do that would make him better? Or do you reckon it's just ridiculously hard to balance it?
I really think he needs just a full rework because he's so hard to balance. They need to just completely change his kit because they're never going to be able to please the community, right? Like you make him too strong, he's just annoying and miserable to play against. It's just, he's hard. I think Mans needs to come back. Dude lost his fortified, went on Slim Fest, you know, he's ready to go. Like, they should up maybe like the damage if they're gonna keep the slow gone. And I think they should up the barrel damage too to break them. Because if they're insta breakage, if you were able to actually get it deployed and stay there, then you should be able to get value out of that. You have to have the fear to make him good. And if you don't have that fear, everything in his kit is bad. So there has to be something that you're afraid of. Like, I'm not just gonna walk into a Watson fence. Like, I'm dead if I do that. Like, I'm literally dead, yeah. Like, like I'm not just going
That's a good point. I never thought about that. You need like the fear. It's like, you know, if you look at all the control legends, there's the fear of you're not going to push them because something's going to happen.
I'm scared to just walk through a catalyst wall into a cat spot. Like, heck no, I'm not doing that. Like, I see Rampart with Sheila, oh, heck no. Like, if I know that's like a good player on the other end, oh,
Yo.
I'm good. But that's the point of the controller legends. They're supposed to have that control of space, and he just is kind of lacking it. He doesn't have that fear factor. That's what we're missing. We need it.
Well, what about Caustic's heirloom? Do you like it? And where would you rate it on a tier list?
I love it.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yes, S tier.
S tier?
Absolutely love it.
What's so good about it?
When I played Siege, I was a sledge main. I could not believe he got a hammer. I was like, there is no way. Like, what? And I love that, like, the detail on it is so good. Now I'm gonna look at it. Like, I love the face. Like, it's his face on it. And the animations are so cool. It's like the little spider, like, on it. I don't know. I love it.
And my favorite part about it is when you hit someone, the thud it makes. I love the noise.
Oh my gosh,
I
yes.
love it. It's so good.
And I like the gas, like, comes out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's so good.
I've always really liked it. I'm a fan. I think his mythic skin is gas, too.
I think it's okay. I think it's good. I don't think it's the best. It's decent.
It's amazing. And the finisher, outstanding.
The finisher is
Absolutely
good. The finisher is really good, yeah. What about you? So what are your plans with Apex and content and stuff at the moment? Are you planning to, you know, grind Pred, grind pubs? You playing other games?
Right now, I'm just playing pubs. I want to try to get, like, kind of in the deadlock scene. I've been trying to do, like, the shorts and stuff. So I want to try.
There we go, that was the #1 Caustic in the world, Giggle. She is insanely knowledgeable about, well, Caustic and Apex in general, so make sure you drop her a follow on all her socials. She is awesome. And now it is time for one of the top lifelines in the entire world, with 170,000 kills to take us through the insane amount of changes and reworks the lifeline just got, plus his biggest tips and tricks for her. And this lifeline is, of course, Marcus. Quickly though, giveaway time, one lucky person is going to win a secret prize, and all you have to do to enter is add this person right here on screen. Add them on Apex and bang, you could win. Now, let's talk to Marcus. Well, Lifeline just got an insane amount of changes. She can now fly or glide, she can throw a dock drone to teammates to heal them. Her ult's completely different. What are your thoughts on all those?
I definitely prefer the new ult. I really wasn't a fan of the care package, honestly, even after they did buff it. It wasn't really a need, especially if you were actually like shooting your gun and the drone following you now. That's huge. I've been asking for that for like years. I like that it does let you know on screen as well how low your teammates are, kind of. Like the symbol on your screen will change different colors.
And the fact that you can like throw it at your teammates as well, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people complaining that you can't throw it at both teammates at once, but you definitely can. If you just like throw it at a teammate and then look at your other teammate and just hit the button again, it will just go right to the other teammate. I don't think people know that that's how you do it, but you definitely can do it like at both teammates at one time.
Well, what about the fact that she can now fly or glide through the air? What do you think of that? I've seen a lot of people say it's not very good, but then I've seen some say it's decent. What are your thoughts?
See, before the season even came out, I thought it was gonna be terrible. For the simple fact that I was like, oh, I'm gonna get beamed out the sky. I already know it, and it happened so many times. But I've yet to get beamed out the sky using it. But I think it's kind of like Valkyrie almost. Like you kind of have to use it in situations where you know you're not gonna get shot out the sky. Like you can't just be like spamming it mid-fight because you will die. It's not bad. I like it.
I think one thing with it that everyone underrates is the fact that you can cancel full stun with it. I feel like that's the strongest part of it. Jumping back to her ult, you said you liked that they changed her ult, but do you think it's low-key maybe too strong? An impenetrable wall that you heal faster in is crazy.
I feel like to balance it out more, I think they can make it smaller as well. I think the like radius of how big it is pretty absurd. That and it's pretty tall too. I mean, if they nerfed it, they could probably lower the walls down a bit, so it's easier to like throw nades or abilities over, but is it broken? I don't think so, but it's probably annoying if you're like fighting it consistently. Yeah, I think it's just one of those, it's not broken, it's annoying type things, but...
Obviously, there are other changes that affected Lifeline. The support changes, so she heals twice as much for small heals. When she reses someone, they get all their HP back, etc. But staying on Lifeline, what are your thoughts on the best perks for her?
For the blue one, I would just go with the farther, like, fly rate, or fly farther without it stopping. Purple one, that one's always hard. I still, like, right now, always toss up whether I want to throw it farther or get it faster, because both will like save you pretty decently. So that I think just depends, honestly, what you want. But most of the time, I just go with the cool, like probably like 90% of the time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I get that. Playstyle wise, obviously she's a support legend, so you're largely going to play her as like the anchor of backlines character a lot if you're playing like ranked or you know, if you were playing like competitive or something like that. But what do you think is overall the best playstyle for Lifeline?
I feel like it always comes down to how good you are at the game, but I feel like overall probably like semi-aggressive. Obviously, you're like the res character. You don't want to be the first one knocked every single fight you get into. So I do think that it is still valuable to like push up with your team and, you know, do some type of damage, but I don't think you should be the first one into fights for obvious reasons, especially with being able to throw the drone now. Yeah, I think like semi-aggressive. I don't think you want to play too passive because then you're going to be no help because you won't even be able to res your teammates. So I would just stick behind your teammates, honestly. You should probably be like the second or third person into fights, especially in ranked. But I mean, in ranked, you should all be together regardless, so.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, okay, well, your biggest tips and tricks. If you had to give someone your biggest tips and tricks, whether they're simple tricks or, you know, whether they're complicated ones, etc., what are your biggest tips and tricks for Lifeline? But before we get to those big tips and tricks, let's have a look at our 160, almost 170,000 kill Lifeline stats and his controller settings. So first up, obviously the 166,000 kills, and you'll notice big shotgun user, has level 100 plus on every shotgun, as he also has 10,000 plus kills on every shotgun. Kind of insane for a controller player. Overall, he has almost 50,000 kills, 12,000 wins, ridiculous. 180,000 kills in total. His highest ever kills in a game is 34, ridiculous. 43 longest win streak, that is actually ridiculously crazy. Then we jump over to this season. You know, he's got an average ADR 950, 4.4 KD, pretty good, can't complain. Only the highest ever kills for 13 though. Not slaying out this season yet, but I'm sure he will. And then here are his controller settings for you. As you can see, he's not a basic 4-3 linear man. He plays on 5-5, which I don't really know much about controllers, but I mean, hey, it's different to what 99% of people play, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy what these settings are. I don't really know much about them, yeah. Alright, okay, well, your biggest tips and tricks. If you had to give someone your biggest tips and tricks, whether they're simple tricks.
You're Lifeline, so you want to res your teammates. But the problem is, I feel like, especially if you're playing with randoms, Lifeline, for some reason, just always, like, happens to be the first person down on the team. Because I swear when I play with randoms, that they're always the first person down when they take Lifeline. But I think it's just because they're playing too aggressive with no escape from the fight. You know, they can't throw smoke on the ground like bang and run away or something. So I feel like, you know, if you're playing Lifeline, you gotta play semi-aggressive, but don't play too passive, but also don't play too aggressive.
Yeah, well, I guess there's not like a lot of like technical things and, you know, mechanical things that happen and you can do with Lifeline. I guess there's a little bit more now with like her flying and her ultimate, but even then they're still relatively simple to use.
Yeah, I feel like just like common sense, I feel like you'd be able to use the character.
And I mean, like you've said, the biggest thing with Lifeline largely comes down just to positioning. Because you want to be positioned where you don't go down first and you can get the most out of all your abilities.
That and probably just like resing your... I think that's another thing. I think a lot of Lifelines like to revive their teammates and then just leave them there. You have to protect your teammates when they're getting up playing Lifeline. You can't just tap the button and then just start dashing across the room. But other than that, I feel like there's not really much tips and tricks. Cause, I mean, she's not like a complicated character in a way where, you know, there's a bunch of different things you wouldn't know about her. I mean, you know, the ult you just throw down, you know, you heal fast in it, you can fly, and the drone follows you and teammates. It's pretty simple when it comes down to it. But I think the biggest thing is just you got to make sure you're droning on a door. It's just, it will save you so much. And
ranking Lifeline, if you had to rank her out of like, on like a tier list for every legend in the game, where would you rank her? Do you reckon she's at the top or?
I'd say so. I was always a Lifeline hater before. Like before her changes, I always said that she was extremely mid unless you had a gold knockdown. That's when she became super strong. So like old Lifeline, like before she got the changes, I would have went like C tier, honestly. Maybe like low B, but now, yeah, I mean, just like, you know, high A, you know, like low S tier, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, and if you had to rank her out of all the other support legends, do you reckon she's the best support legend now or not?
Oh hell, nah. Newcastle definitely the best one.
Yeah.
Nah, wait a minute. No, I'd go Newcastle. Probably Lifeline. It'd either be a toss-up between Lifeline or Gibby for like the second best one. But I mean, the worst one I think will always be Mirage. Mirage is just Mirage, you know, so.
Literally. Okay, well, Lifeline in her current state, you know, exactly how she is right now, with all the support stuff as well. Do you think overall she's overpowered and needs any buffs, or do you reckon she's literally just perfect? Or does she need any nerfs, etc.? Or do you think she's fine?
Try to be non-biased here. I mean, the ult, like I said, I think the ult could use a tweak, maybe make, like, the radius of it a little bit smaller, since it is kind of big, but other than that, I don't really think there is anything that's I would, you know, want or nerf, honestly. I mean, I enjoy her pretty much, or pretty well for how she is now.
Yeah, that's fair. Best weapons. I know you're a massive shotgun user, but what do you reckon are the best weapons to use on Lifeline?
Shotgun. She's a really small character, so I do think that using a shotgun is very good with the small hitbox. Whether you play like, you know, her or Wraith or anything, definitely think you should be using a shotgun. Another thing, since, you know, like I said, semi-aggressive playstyle I think is the best, is mid-range guns. So I'm always using like an R3 or low-key a sleeper weapon. I feel like is the alternator. I feel like the alternator is really good for mid-distance fights, honestly. Even though it's an SMG, it has like really good range for it being an SMG.
No, I agree. I love the alternator. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like a shotgun paired with like an alternator is one of my favorites, or just like an R3 and a shotgun. But honestly, you can run any assault rifle. There's not really a bad assault rifle in the game, so I would never run a sniper because I think sniping is too passive to be a Lifeline player, if that makes sense. You know, because I can't res my teammates shooting 125 meters back, so I don't even bother with that. Unless you're just really good with the Sentinel, then just use it like a shotgun. But other than that, yeah, I wouldn't bother touching like the longbow or the charge rifle or any of that. But you always got to pick up the Kraber.
Of course, always. What about counters? Are there any legends out there that counter Lifeline?
Like, because the fact that you can heal super fast almost has no counter, if that makes sense. Like, because I know Caustic would be a really good one. You know, you throw a Caustic ult in the thing, then it almost covers like the entire radius of the thing. Especially if Caustic has like the bigger ult, if that's still a thing. But you probably could just out heal it, honestly. You know, you pop a med kit in like 3 seconds. So I don't. If you use his knuckle cluster and his ult maybe would be a pretty good counter, because then you couldn't really go anywhere. But then yet again, I feel like you could just out heal the knuckle clusters. So I almost don't think there really is a counter to the ult, honestly. They're in it. You just gotta either wait for it to go down or just push them with your gun. I mean, some of the characters, if you ran in with their abilities, would be really good. Like, Ballistic's ult would be pretty cool, because you'd get your movement on top of, like, infinite ammo and stuff like that. Horizon's ult would kind of, like, blind your vision a bit if she threw it in the middle.
In, like, the current meta, what legends do you think are the best to like, pair up with Lifeline to have on your team?
See, I've always been a fan of having a character that can take height right away. So I will forever say Horizon will be just a character I like to play with. But she is very annoying. Conduit and Lifeline paired together now, since Lifeline can throw her drone, is insane. If your teammate is 1 HP, there is no longer your teammate 1 HP. Like, it's just not a thing no more. She throws shields, she throws health, there's no, you know, coming back from that. But I think my sleeper pick, honestly, is Rampart. I really like playing with a good Rampart. They know what they're doing. It kind of like, it's almost hard to die.
Okay, well, what do you think of Lifeline's heirloom if you had to rate it on a tier list?
I've had it for so long that it's just like, just looking at it now, it just has no effect on me. I'll go like B. I think it's not bad, but it's not the best.
Okay, well, a little bit different then. What about yourself, like content-wise and stuff? Are you still kill grinding hard? Are you going for like 200k on Lifeline, or what are your goals with like Apex?
That was my goal, but kill grinding, like having a daily goal, in my opinion, is, I feel like, worse than having a long-term goal. So when I had kill grind, I used to set a goal of like getting, I don't know, 150 to 200 kills a day. Well, back then that was pretty doable. I mean, the game wasn't terrible, it wasn't in a bad state, so getting 200 kills in a day took like 4 hours, 5 hours. It wasn't that hard. But now that would take like 9 hours, because the queue times are a lot longer, the lobbies are sweatier and all that. So I had stopped just caring about getting the 150 to 200 kills. So I set a really long-term goal to get 10,000 kills with the PK, the Mastiff, and the Eva. which I had recently did actually, probably like a month ago. I finished the EVA because it wasn't a care package for 6 months, so I couldn't finish it. But so when it came out, I had finished that. So now I have 10,000 kills with the EVA, the Mastiff, and the PK, and you know I feel like I'm getting peer pressured into doing the Mozam as well. But I need like
Yeah,
6,500 kills on the Mozams.
You've got to get 10k with all of them.
Oh man, so it's like 6,500 kills.
That's a lot.
But and I think just long-term goals when it comes to now. Most of the time I play, honestly, I'm not even on Apex to kill grind. It's more so just to like content-wise. I mean, you probably know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. I haven't kill grinded in ages.
Yeah, on the game just to get some like YouTube content or something like that. But yes, that's really the only reason I be on now. Is just for the content side of it, since it is something I do enjoy doing. I stopped kill grinding a long time ago.
Thank you guys again for watching, especially if you got this far in the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Picked up some tips and tricks for Caustic and Lifeline. Don't forget to follow both of them on all their socials. They're posting YouTube videos on Apex, Deadlock, and everything else you could think of. And also, for a special bonus, one person that adds this man right here on screen, 1000 IQ Zoro, will receive a special gift on their Apex account. So add him, quick, go, go!